Production support for the weekly special is provided by
Smithfield Communications, serving southern Indiana with high-speed fibre gigabit internet for businesses, hospitals and homes. Smithfield Fibre Gigabit Technology. Tap the power.
IU School of Public Health Bloomington, addressing public health needs by preventing disease, promoting health, and improving quality of life across the state and around the world through research, teaching, and community engagement.
IU Credit Union, now offering mobile access to IU Credit Union accounts, helping account holders check balances, transfer funds, and pay bills through their mobile devices. Available through the IU Credit Union apps for iPhone and Droid. The Alkaline Recognition Endowment Fund, established by friends and family of Alkaline to support jazz initiatives on WTIU and WFIU. And WTIU members, thank you.
Summer is the perfect time to explore destinations throughout Indiana, and tonight you'll be joining us in South Bend.
There are dozens of reasons to explore this great city, and you're about to see a handful of them.
We're going to show you some iconic locations of the city
And tell you about all kinds of fun things to do once you get here. It's all coming up tonight on the Weekly Special.
Hello, I'm Daryl Neer.
And I'm Erica Sagone.
Now, Erica, I'm excited to visit your childhood home.
Yes, that's right. I'm excited to be back here. Now, our first stop on our South Bend trip is the iconic St. Joseph River, but we're not going to stay here long because there's a lot to do. One of my favorite things to see in South Bend is, of course, the University of Notre Dame campus, and I can't think of a better place to start than the beautiful Basilica. Let's take a look.
Shortly after its start in 1837, the Congregation of the Holy Cross sought to establish a school in the New World. Offering help, the Bishop of Vincennes sent Father Sorin and 7 of his brothers to the banks of St. Mary's Lake in South Bend.
So we were founded in France, but in many ways we're very much an American congregation within the Catholic Church, because this is where we really were able to take off. We kind of arrived in the United States at just the right time in the right place as well. So that pioneer spirit that was helping grow the country was also had infected Father Sorin. Father Sorin was a very entrepreneurial spirit and had a lot of great ideas of founding a great university. He was able to get a lot of financial support from people like Napoleon III and counts and marquises in France and so on and so forth. They were the original donors of the University of Notre Dame.
The university was founded in 1842. By 1870, the brothers began construction on a new chapel. 18 years later, the church was officially consecrated in celebration of the 50th anniversary of Father Sorin's ordination.
It speaks to the strong tie between the success and the beauty of this place and Father Sorin himself. It's sort of like an extension of who he is and his personality. You kind of see it stamped here. He wasn't the architect and he wasn't the principal builder, but he is the thought and the mind and the energy behind its own construction and establishment.
Today, the church remains the tallest university chapel in the country, featuring a bell tower that measures 218 feet, 44 stained glass windows, and stunning artworks commissioned from around the world.
He was able to engage the artistic genius of Luigi Gregori, who was the artist in residence for the Vatican under Pius IX, and we were able to get him here for over 20 years. That golden altar was imported from Paris. It was commissioned. It's not an old altar. In the way back, we have what is known as the Bernini Altar. Now that was a relic. That was already 200 years old by the time Father Sorin imported it from Rome. But it's done by the Bernini school, who designed some of the major features of the Basilica of St. Peter in Rome. Sorin wanted to make sure that, very much in keeping with the Congregation of Holy Cross's philosophy of wedding academia with spirituality, that the two centers, the main building and the church, would be side by side, and that neither one would overshadow the other so much, that this needed to be the heart of the campus and the heart of the university.
Though this year marks the Basilica's 126th anniversary, popularity continues, with over 100,000 visitors annually partaking in daily liturgies, and after-game masses for Notre Dame fans.
It was like the home base and a point of pride for many Catholics. I think that's part of why Notre Dame got to be so famous, because at a time in the country when Catholics were viewed with a bit of skepticism, suspicion, this was a place where Catholicism was welcomed and they didn't have to feel ashamed about their faith. I think there was also a strong sense that they needed to make this place look and feel very much like the church the people left behind when they immigrated to this country. This was built around the time when massive immigration from Catholic countries in Europe was happening. So they wanted a place that just felt like home.
For more information on the Basilica of the Sacred Heart, visit campusministry.nd.edu for hours and a schedule of masses.
Well, the Basilica is certainly one of the most beautiful things to see in South Bend, but if you're looking for something that's both picturesque and outdoors, then you can't miss the Potawatomi Zoo. It's Indiana's oldest zoo, and it's home to 400 animals, including these brother lions behind us, Tango and Anyo.
You know, Erica, was established in 1902 and has evolved into 23 acres of exhibits, and they host over 220,000 visitors a year. And as you mentioned, it's also 160 species, and one of my favorite species here are the Amur leopards, which are actually endangered, only 30 left in the wild.
Wow.
They actually call a WPA work project building home. It was built in 1936.
Huh. All right. Well, something else really cool that was going on in South Bend about that time was the formation of a women's professional baseball team called the Blue Sox. And the Blue Sox were part of that league that included the Rockford Peaches and were immortalized in that great movie, A League of Their Own. And in South Bend, you can learn a lot about the history of the league and the Blue Sox at the Center for History. Let's take a look.
The Center for History happens to be the second oldest historical society in the state of Indiana. We were first organized in 1867, so have been in the area for many, many years. The Center for History has 6 galleries of exhibits. One of the areas that we're especially proud of is the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League. We are the national repository, and for that reason, we always have an area of our museum that's devoted to telling their story, their history. In 1943, the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League was formed by Philip Wrigley, who of course owned the Chicago Cubs. It was the middle of World War II. He realized that many of his major league players were being drafted or on their own were going off to fight in the war. And he was worried that the public might stop coming to Major League Baseball games. And he conceived of an idea of inviting women baseball players to try out for teams and to create a women's baseball league. And that's what he did, and it worked. It was very popular. These were teams in the Midwest, and one of the first of the 4 teams that were formed that year was the South Bend Blue Sox team. The South Bend Blue Sox played every single year of the 12 years that the league was active. The league began in 1943 and played through 1954. And so when the league was trying to determine where they should have their collections, they decided that it would be very appropriate for the Center for History to be one of those national repositories. Some of the items, for instance, that we have in our collection are baseball uniforms. We have baseball gloves and bats and balls, the catcher's mask. A lot of the women kept scrapbooks that told their stories through the years as they traveled from city to city playing. And so they kept scrapbooks filled with newspaper clippings or photographs, the programs that would be handed out at the games. Each scrapbook different from the next one, and so fascinating. We have a number of photographs that were taken. We even have footage from radio broadcasts of those teams that played. They played baseball because they loved it, and they were fierce competitors, and yet they built this camaraderie. It seems like it's a very poignant time in American history. The war was going on, and yet at the home front, everyone was trying to do something for the war effort, whether that meant going to work in the factory or being on a baseball team to help build the morale of the country. So it's a very important time in American history, not just for today and not just for next year, but 50 years from now, this will still be a very significant story, and we are proud and hopeful that we can continue telling that story on their behalf.
Now, another fascinating part of the Center for History is right next door. We're at the Oliver Mansion. It was built in 1895. Now, since then, it's been impeccably maintained, so you can really get an idea of what life was like here 100 years ago. Christy, tell us, who was lucky enough to call this place home?
Well, this home was built by industrialist J.D. Oliver. He was the director of the Oliver Chilled Plow Works at the time, and he decided that he needed a home that more suited his tastes and his family, and commissioned an architect to build this home.
How did it make the jump to a museum?
Well, unlike a lot of house museums, this only had one family that lived in it. J.D. Oliver had 4 children, and they had decided that when they all passed away, that the house would be given with its contents to a museum. They approached the Northern Indiana Historical Society, which is us, to donate this house. And so pretty much everything in here is just as it was. So if you look at pictures, you know, the couch is right here, and these paintings are right where they should be. And that was all meticulously preserved, all the way down to toothbrushes and clothes in the cabinets and, you know, crates of ginger ale in the basement. So that's a really special thing we have here.
Tell us about some of the more interesting things that people are going to see when they're here.
Well, some of the really special things about this house include the Tiffany glass windows. We have a lot of leaded glass windows. The architecture of the structure is called Queen Anne Romanesque. So we've got some Romanesque features that are very Gothic, like some crenellations on the outside that you see on castles, but also this great big veranda that wraps around the house, like the Queen Anne house had. The house also has 2.5 acres of formal landscape gardens, and they actually saw it as a series of rooms with hallways that connected them. So you go down this long pergola to the sunken garden that's still maintained, and that's part of your tour. When you take a tour, you learn about how they use the outside.
Why do you think it was important to the Oliver family to be able to preserve their history and share it with others?
Well, the Oliver family was actually one of the most important families in the area, and even in the state. J.D. Oliver was the richest man in Indiana. The Oliver Chilled Plow was the best-selling plow in the world. And aside from that, the Oliver family also funded a lot of public works projects. So it's an important reminder to what the family really gave to the city and to the area. So it's a great place to learn about history. You can come in and feel like you're in a home of the period. You actually walk right into that time period, which is unusual since we have all of these furnishings right inside.
Yeah,
So
it does feel like someone almost still lives here. There are so many photos everywhere. It's really beautiful.
And that's actually, when they donated the house, there was a big party, and people left their drinks all over the tables, and then they handed us the key and walked out. So that's pretty much exactly what happened.
Well, Christy, thank you so much for giving us a glimpse into the Oliver family and their beautiful home. And if you'd like more information on the Oliver Mansion and all of the other exhibits at the Center for History, visit the website at centerforhistory.org.
Thanks again, Christy, for all that great information about the mansion.
It's my pleasure.
Next, we're going to learn about a family contemporary to the Olivers, and that's the Studebaker family. We're going to take a look at some contributions they made to the economy at the Studebaker National Museum.
What became the Studebaker Corporation started as H&C Studebaker, a blacksmith shop, in February of 1852. Brothers Henry and Clem opened a shop in downtown South Bend, which at that time was just a fledgling community on the shores of the St. Joseph River. Soon the company grew. Younger brother John M. Studebaker joined the firm in the late 1850s. Other brothers Peter and Jacob Studebaker joined up in the 1860s, and they now called themselves the Studebaker Brothers Manufacturing Company. By the turn of the 19th century, the Studebaker Brothers Manufacturing Company was the world's largest manufacturer of horse-drawn equipment. Studebaker entered the automobile market by basically marketing vehicles built by other companies. Studebaker had the worldwide dealer network, they had the name recognition. What they didn't have were facilities to build automobiles, so they purchased several companies, the largest being the EMF Company of Detroit, Michigan. By this time, the Studebaker Corporation was really looking at getting out of the horse-drawn market in the late teens, but World War I intervened. It was still a war fought mainly with horse-drawn vehicles, so they kept producing a lot of equipment for World War I. But after the war ended, Studebaker, they knew the horse and buggy was on its way out, and they began overhauling the South Bend plant to produce automobiles and slowly began phasing out of Detroit in the 1920s. Studebaker was going great guns in the 1920s. Unfortunately, their leaders really underestimated the Great Depression. In 1933, Studebaker was broke and entered receivership. They were able to reorganize. They convinced the bankruptcy court judges that the best way to satisfy their creditors was to continue building automobiles. And the company was actually able to keep going, and by 1935 was back on the road to profitability. Once we get into the 30s and 40s, Studebaker was looking at styling as their calling card. They realized they didn't have the volume that the other manufacturers did. They had to produce a better product, a different product, something that would set themselves apart from the market. That formula really propelled them to their greatest heights in the late 40s and early 50s. And even today, those Studebaker automobiles are looked at icons of American automobile design. Weight is the enemy was one of their mantras. They wanted a very efficient automobile, but they also embraced really the aircraft styling theme, and that's reflected in Studebaker's bullet nose models of 1950. You know, there's a big old propeller sitting out on the front of the car, and it looks like just a World War II fighter airplane coming out of the sky. They looked to Europe a lot for inspiration, and that was a direct influence on Studebaker's masterpiece, the 1953 Starliner. It's probably best described as a jazz quintet amid a whole field of chamber music. It was low, it was rakish, it was half a foot lower than anything else on the market. It completely separated Studebaker from the rest of the industry, which was very perpendicular and kind of boxy, and here the new streamlined Studebakers come out and everyone's going, wow, look what Studebaker did. Studebaker was trying to make it on 4% of the market when GM was selling 45% of the market. Studebaker just did not have the resources to compete at that level, and unfortunately we're not able to compete past the 1960s. Studebaker's closing was a devastating blow to the community, and there's no two ways about it. It was probably the single most tragic occurrence in the history of South Bend. 7,000 employees were basically thrown out of work 2 weeks before Christmas in 1963. But the community did respond. And by 1966, unemployment was back at pre-closing levels. And if you look at South Bend today and the strengths it brought, that was really tested by Studebaker's closing, and I think the community came out much stronger for it. And even today, there's 3 degrees of separation, it seems, from Studebaker at almost anything you point to in this town. Hospitals, churches, parks. The automobiles aren't being built here anymore, but Studebaker is very much a part of South Bend's cultural fabric. The Studebaker National Museum's collection includes everything from some of the most popular Studebaker vehicles made to one-of-a-kind show cars, prototypes, and other vehicles you're never going to see anywhere else because there's only one of them. Some people will say, oh, my first car is a Studebaker, my parents had Studebakers. Others are just learning about Studebakers for the first time and think they're cool cars. There's so many different ways for people to experience the Studebaker story. We're just delighted that many of them come by and do so. We're just a short drive away.
The exhibits are always changing. Learn how you can visit the Studebaker National Museum at their website, studebakermuseum.org.
Now we're going to come from one form of transportation to an alternative form of transportation in downtown South Bend. And joining us is Paul McMinn of the South Bend Parks and Recreation Department. And Paul, we're here at the East Race Waterway, a really unique event and attraction for the city.
Yes, it is, and we're celebrating our 30th year where we put down over 300,000 people. So you came at a great year.
Well, for people who are unfamiliar with what a race is, I mean, this is really part of South Bend's history as well.
Yes, it is. In the old days, we had an east and west race that was done for hydraulic power. So a lot of the early manufacturing that really is the heart of the city and brought people here because of the river and the old east races. So when we dug this back up, it was bringing back our heart and our soul that helped define our city. But we brought this back. One was for rafting, but the main reason was economic development. We hired a company to do a river corridor study, and they said we need river walks and to use the river to its advantage. And part of that, in the 1972 Olympics, they had a white water course. So they said, you know, it would be really cool if you built one just like that in Germany. At the time, there were only 3 artificial courses in the world. They gave it to our city council at the time, and they said, what a great idea. Fast forward to today, 300,000 people, rafters have come to enjoy the urban whitewater. So it's been a big success for our community. and it's brought about $100 million worth of economic development.
Let's put the rafting in context. For people who are familiar with whitewater rafting, what type of class of category would this be?
It's level 2, and really the neat thing about it, nobody in the Midwest for the most part knows how to go whitewater rafting. So when we have people come from Detroit or Chicago and all of Indiana, people come here and just have a ball because they've never been whitewater rafting. So to them, this is Colorado in the middle of Indiana.
Now, there's another part of this East race that is really, I think, really important. Is we've talked about economic development, the recreation, but there's a public safety component that this serves as well.
Exactly. We do a river rescue school. Our fire department and the Department of Natural Resources have hosted it from the beginning. For over 30 years, we train police and fire and conservation officers come from all across the country, as well as it's required training for our Department of Natural Resources. Conservation officers all are trained here as well.
Well, I've changed and I'm ready to go. Is there any way that you might let me participate on the race?
Absolutely. You got to have fun so you can tell people what a great time it is.
Well, let's go.
Let's go.
Well, we've got Daryl in the raft. I'm going to stay dry here on the dock, give them a little push down the East Race Waterway. Bon voyage, guys. And if you'd like to explore South Bend by raft, find out hours and directions at sbpark.org. While Daryl makes his way down the river, we're going to go across the river to one of South Bend's tastiest attractions, the South Bend Chocolate Company.
For most kids across the country, the dream of walking into Willy Wonka's chocolate factory remains a childhood fantasy. But for the kids of South Bend, it's more than a fantasy. It's a brisk trip downtown to the world's largest chocolate store. Over 10,000 square feet of pure delight, founded by chocolate maker Mark Tarner.
My dad was a chocolate maker, and so I grew up, and the time I was about 10 is the first time I went in and made chocolate. And I was just a natural at working for my father. He had a position available, and I started the company at 29, but since I grew up in the business, I had almost a lifetime of experience with my father. A lot of the recipes are still his, not all of them. He was an incredible fudge maker, and no one had done a licensed chocolate before. And I started 3 items, the Domer, the Rockney, and Nuts for ND, and we still make it. And that was kind of the kernel of the idea. I was doing things a little bit differently, and we're still doing that.
Today, the company is the fastest growing chocolate company in the country. At the South Bend factory, employees work around the clock producing over 500 different candy products and an average of over 10,000 pounds of chocolate a day.
We make probably one of the widest range of products in the industry today. We make everything from double dip peanuts and malted milk balls to turtles, caramels, toffee. We have 11 different types of caramel corn. We roast probably 40 to 50 different types of coffees. We're likely the largest roaster in the state of Indiana in coffee, and it's not even what we do. Everything begins with the first step, and I was a manufacturer, but I needed to build a brand. So I like to control as much of the manufacturing process as humanly possible. I took chocolate and put it in a vertical bag. It may sound like a small thing, but when I started 20 years ago, no one did it. And I told all my fellow Hoosiers that I'm Indiana's chocolate company. Like all business people, you either play the hand you're dealt or you decide that you're gonna make up the rules of the game yourself. And so I started doing things differently. I combined the old candy store that had been around for 150 years wasn't good enough for me. I added food, wine, coffee. It's likely the world's largest chocolate shop. It's not really a chocolate shop. There's so many bells and whistles to it, but it's 10,000 square feet. And I don't think there's another one even close.
For Mark, the company has given him the opportunity to spread his community's goodwill across the country, not just in name, but also in locally sourced ingredients.
Sometimes, because we live in the Rust Belt, Hoosiers have a tendency to discount the great things that we produce. I'm very proud of where I'm from, and we concentrate on buying good ingredients, buying the best chocolate. I buy all my products as locally as I can. It makes sense logistically, it makes sense financially, and it makes sense if you help build your neighbor's future, that they'll be loyal and buy your product. We want to see our community, and particularly South Bend, succeed. And then outside of the state of Indiana, they don't think of U.S. Steel or Eli Lilly. They think of this company that's named South Bend that's in Indiana, because it allows us to extend our community nationwide. I think we're probably ahead of the curve on that one too. Hopefully we stay ahead of the curve.
Daryl, now you're back with us and you're dry. How was your trip down the East Race?
I did get a little wet, but it was fantastic. Next time, Erica, you're going to join me.
Ah, all right, that's fair. Well, now we're back with Andrew from the Studebaker National Museum, and he is going to show us around South Bend in style.
We're in a 1963 Studebaker Daytona, and we're going to see more of South Bend.
And if you'd like help planning your visit to this great city, be sure to go to visitsouthbend.com. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Production support for the weekly special is provided by
Smithfield Communications, serving southern Indiana with high-speed fibre gigabit internet for businesses, hospitals and homes. Smithfield Fibre Gigabit Technology. Tap the power.
IU School of Public Health Bloomington, addressing public health needs by preventing disease, promoting health, and improving quality of life across the state and around the world through research, teaching, and community engagement.
IU Credit Union, now offering mobile access to IU Credit Union accounts, helping account holders check balances, transfer funds, and pay bills through their mobile devices. Available through the IU Credit Union apps for iPhone and Droid. The Alkaline Recognition Endowment Fund, established by friends and family of Alkaline to support jazz initiatives on WTIU and WFIU. And WTIU members, thank you.